What if you could own your home outright, slash your monthly bills down to almost nothing, and never dread another mortgage payment again? Sounds impossible, right? Well, right now, thousands of Americans are doing exactly that, in homes under 400 square feet. Some are paying as little as $26,000 for a brand new place to live. Others are spending less than $50 a month on utilities. And a growing number are mortgage-free before 40. But here's the part nobody talks about on Instagram. Some of those same people deeply regret it. A few lost money. Others ran into legal walls they never saw coming. And some just could not handle the reality of sharing 300 square feet with another human being. So today, we're gonna get honest. No fluff, no fantasy. Just the real pros and the real cons of tiny home living in 2026, backed by actual numbers. And trust me, by the end of this video, you will know exactly whether tiny home living is right for you, or a beautiful trap waiting to happen. If you're new here, welcome. This channel is all about alternative housing, real builds, and real costs. No sugarcoating. Hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you never miss a video. And if you find this helpful, drop a like. It seriously helps more people find us. Alright, let us get into it. Before we dive in, let's get our terms straight. A tiny home is typically between 100 and 400 square feet. Some are built on permanent foundations, others are on wheels. Some are prefab units, others are DIY builds from scratch. And yes, some people convert shipping containers and school buses. They all qualify under the broad tiny home umbrella. In 2026, the average traditional home in the U.S. costs over $410,000. The median mortgage payment? Easily $2,000 to $3,000 a month, depending on your market, with the median landing right around $2,070 as of January 2026. Meanwhile, nearly 3/4 of Americans say they would consider living in a tiny home, according to the most recent IPX 1031 survey data. That is not a fringe number. That is most of us. So let us break down the real story, starting with the good stuff. Pro 1. The cost difference is staggering. Let us start with a number that stops people in their tracks. A tiny home in 2026 will typically cost you between $30,000 and $75,000 to build, with higher-end custom builds reaching up to $150,000. Compare that to the national average of over $400,000 for a traditional home, and the math is pretty dramatic. Now, here's the real kicker. If you go the DIY route on a tiny home under 150 square feet, you could get shell up for as little as $15,000. A 120 square foot prefab unit with basic plumbing and grid connection in 2026 runs around $26,000. That is not rent. That is not a lease. That is a home you own. And once it is paid off, your monthly overhead drops to almost nothing. Many tiny home owners report utility bills under $50 a month. Property taxes, when a home sits on land you own, are minimal because of the low assessed value. For people focused on financial independence or early retirement, that math is life-changing. Pro 2. Utility bills that will make your jaw drop. Because you're heating, cooling, and lighting 300 square feet instead of 2,200, your energy consumption shrinks dramatically. A smaller home means a smaller HVAC load, fewer lights to run, and less water to heat. Many tiny homeowners who go off-grid with solar panels report monthly utility costs so low they are essentially negligible. Even grid-connected tiny homeowners frequently report electric bills under $30 in mild months. That is not an exaggeration. The physics of small spaces just work in your favor. Pro 3. Environmental impact. Actually lower. If sustainability matters to you, tiny homes deliver on that promise. They use fewer materials to build, less energy to operate, and the smaller footprint itself reduces land use. According to the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality, over 80% of a home's greenhouse gas emissions across its lifetime come from electricity and fuel consumption. A tiny home uses a fraction of that energy by default. Add solar panels, a composting toilet, and rainwater collection, and you are living with a genuinely minimal environmental impact. Pro 4. Mobility and freedom. If your tiny home is on wheels, you can relocate. Full stop. Want to spend summers in Colorado and winters in Arizona? Want to follow job opportunities without losing your housing? That is a real option that traditional homeownership simply does not give you. In 2026, As remote work continues to be widespread, this flexibility is worth more than ever. People are moving not just for jobs, but for lifestyle, climate preferences, and cost of living. A tiny home on a trailer gives you a stable home base that travels with you. Pro 5. Forced minimalism and the mental clarity that comes with it. This one is harder to put a price on, but it is real. When you live in 300 square feet, you cannot accumulate junk. Every object you own has to earn its place. That process of intentional living, deciding what actually matters, has genuine psychological benefits. Tiny home owners consistently report lower stress, less time spent cleaning and maintaining, and more clarity about what they value. You cannot buy things you do not have room for. You stop spending on storage. You start spending on experiences. It is a forced lifestyle reset, and for many people, it is exactly what they needed. Alright, now let us talk about the stuff the Instagram accounts do not show you. Because the cons here are not minor. Some of them are genuinely deal-breaking for certain people, and you deserve to know all of it. Con 1. The per square foot cost is actually high. Here is the counterintuitive truth that surprises most people. While the total price of a tiny home is far lower than a traditional home, the cost per square foot is often higher. Think about it. You still need a full kitchen, a bathroom with plumbing, electrical wiring, a roof, insulation, and all the same systems of a large home, just crammed into a much smaller footprint. That custom work costs money regardless of the square footage. So you may pay $150 to $400 per square foot for a tiny home. High-quality builds in 2026, with specialized labor and high-efficiency systems, are regularly hitting the top of that range, which can actually double the cost per square foot of a traditional build. The total price is lower because you have fewer squares, not because each square is cheaper. That distinction matters. Con 2. Zoning laws are a real obstacle. This is the one that catches people completely off guard. You cannot just park a tiny home anywhere you want. Many cities and counties still classify tiny homes on wheels as recreational vehicles, which means they cannot be used as permanent residences in most residential zones. Even tiny homes on foundations face hurdles, as minimum square footage requirements in many jurisdictions exclude them from being permitted as legal dwellings. That said, there is some real movement happening in 2026. States like Colorado are leading the way with statewide preemption laws that allow accessory dwelling units regardless of local pushback. Federal discussions around housing reform, including proposals similar to the Home Act, are pushing municipalities to loosen restrictions. The landscape is shifting, but it is shifting slowly, and where you plant that tiny home today still matters enormously. Before you commit to a tiny home, you need to research your specific location's zoning laws intensively. Some states and counties are already tiny home friendly. Others will make your life very difficult. This is not a minor inconvenience. It is a legal issue that could prevent you from living in the home you built. Con 3. Financing is harder to get. Traditional mortgage lenders do not love tiny homes. Because many are classified as personal property rather than real estate, they do not qualify for conventional mortgage financing. That means if you cannot pay cash or secure a personal loan or RV-style loan, you may struggle to finance the purchase. Interest rates on personal property loans tend to be higher than mortgage rates, and loan terms are shorter. So even though the dollar amount you're borrowing is smaller, the monthly payment might not be as low as you expect. This is improving as tiny homes gain mainstream acceptance, but it remains a genuine challenge in 2026. Con 4. Depreciation on wheels. Here is a painful truth. Tiny homes on wheels tend to depreciate over time, not appreciate. Because they are classified similarly to RVs and sit on rented land, they do not build equity the way a traditional home on real estate does. If you purchase land and build a tiny home on a permanent foundation, you have a real shot at appreciation. But if your tiny home is a trailer unit on a rented lot, treat it financially more like a vehicle than an investment. You will likely lose value over time, not gain it. For most people in traditional housing, their home is their primary wealth-building asset. That dynamic does not automatically apply to tiny living. Con 5. Space limitations are real and relentless. Living in 300 square feet sounds manageable in theory. In practice, for many people, it is a daily challenge. You cannot shop in bulk. You cannot have guests stay over comfortably. You cannot work from home and share the space without carefully designed zones. If you have a partner, every personality quirk gets amplified. If you have kids, the math gets complicated very fast. Clutter happens immediately. One bag left on the floor, and the whole place feels chaotic. There is no hiding disorder in a tiny space. And if you are naturally someone who values personal space and quiet zones, a tiny home with another person can become a source of significant relationship strain. Con 6. The hidden costs that sneak up on you. People budget for the build and forget everything else. Here's what can catch you off guard. If your tiny home is on wheels, you need a vehicle capable of towing it, which often means a heavy-duty truck. That is easily $40,000 to $70,000 if you do not already own one. Add a trailer hitch, insurance, and registration. If you're going off-grid, a proper solar setup in 2026 can run $8,000 to $20,000 depending on your power needs. Land rental, if you are in a tiny home community, can run $300 to $700 a month depending on the market. Utilities hookup fees can be thousands if you are in a rural area. And because tiny homes require customization and creative problem solving, renovation costs per square foot tend to be disproportionately high. Budget seriously before you commit. Many people who claim tiny home living is cheap are not counting all of these auxiliary costs. Let us be direct. Tiny home living is not a universal solution. It is a lifestyle that works extremely well for specific people and very poorly for others. It tends to work well for single people or couples without kids who are intentional about their possessions, people pursuing financial independence or early retirement, remote workers with location flexibility, retirees looking to downsize and reduce overhead, and individuals with a genuine desire for simpler, more sustainable living. It tends to work poorly for families with children who need separate sleeping and study spaces, people who work from home and need to find office space, individuals who are deeply social and host gatherings frequently, and anyone who has not genuinely confronted the reality of sharing a small space long-term. If you are seriously considering tiny home living, here are the steps that will save you from costly mistakes. First, research your local zoning laws before you spend a single dollar on design or construction. Find out if your municipality has tiny home ordinances, ADU allowances, or whether you're looking at an uphill legal battle. Second, get honest about the total cost of ownership. Do not just budget the build. Account for land, towing vehicle, solar if applicable, hookup fees, insurance, and maintenance. Run the real numbers. Third, if you can, spend a weekend in a tiny home rental before committing. Airbnb and other platforms have thousands of tiny home listings. Live in one for a few nights and see how it actually feels before you make a six-figure lifestyle decision. Fourth, decide on wheels versus foundation early. The two paths have very different legal, financial, and lifestyle implications. On a foundation with owned land, you have better appreciation potential and fewer zoning headaches. On wheels, you have mobility but face financing and depreciation challenges. Fifth, design for your actual life, not an aspirational version of it. If you cook seriously, invest in the kitchen. If you work from home, build in a dedicated workspace. The tiny home builds that fail are the ones where people design for Instagram, not for daily reality. Tiny home living in 2026 is a genuine, viable option for the right person. The financial advantages are real. The freedom and simplicity are real. And the environmental benefits are real. But so are the challenges. The zoning complexity, the depreciation risk, the space limitations, and the hidden costs are not small print. They're the story. The people who thrive in tiny homes are the ones who went in with eyes wide open, did their research, ran their real numbers, and made a decision based on their actual life, not a fantasy version of it. If you want to go deeper on any of this, I have got videos on tiny home builds under $50,000, how to navigate zoning for tiny homes, and the best tiny home communities in the US right now. Links are in the description. If this video helped you, share it with someone who is thinking about making the move. And drop in the comments, would you live in a tiny home? What is your biggest question or concern? I read every comment, and I will answer as many as I can. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.